5.
In the number 5 slot is Action Force from British toy company Palitoy.
Not familiar with them either.
Palitoy is easily the best toy manufacturer in British history, and throughout the late...
These two so far. This and what's the one before it? Indiana Jones. Yeah, he said the Indiana Jones was in the clearance basket bucket clearance bin. So I don't even remember the Indiana Jones figures. I remember the movies, but not the figures.
60s and all of the 70s. Their most iconic toy brand was the 12-inch Action Man range of figures, outfits, and vehicles. But when Kenner changed the face of the boys' toy market with their immensely popular
Star Wars, they were nothing to play with, boy. They were something serious.
Which was released in a smaller 3 3/4-inch scale, many other toy companies followed suit, including Palitoy, who relaunched their popular Action Man brand in this smaller scale in 1982 and renamed it Action Force. The first year Action Force toys were mostly scaled down versions of popular Action Man sets, but things became really exciting in 1983 when Palitoy introduced a backstory that featured an enemy team led by the evil Baron Ironblood, who does battle with the 4 new Action Force teams: Space Force for missions above the Earth's atmosphere, Z Force the conventional land army, Q Force for nautical missions, and the Covert Strike Force, the SAS. These action figures may have minimal articulation, which is identical to Star Wars, but they are beautifully sculpted, and the range also features several repainted Hasbro G.I. Joe action figures.
Wow.
Whilst relatively unknown in the 80s outside of the UK and Europe.
Yeah, they couldn't compete with they got some severe to G.I. Joe-like vehicles, but they couldn't compete with the G.I. Joe figures, whoever this company is. G.I. Joe was knocking them out the water from the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. You couldn't compete with the G.I. Joes now. Because I remember they had the bootleg Joes called the Corpse, made exactly like the G.I. Joes, coming in 6-packs and 10-packs at Bradley. So it's they were good little G.I. Joe bootleg, but the Corpse couldn't do nothing with G.I. Joe neither.
In Britain, this toy line was incredibly popular, even outselling Star Wars toys in Christmas 1982. And with the inclusion of such stunning vehicles as the Z-Force ATC, the Q-Force Sea Lion, and the truly magnificent Robo-Skull, how could I not pick Action Force for this list?
The wicked Baron Ironblood wants to rule the world through terror. Create your own Action Force to stop him. The Baron commands the hideous hyena to attack, with Kraken in command. But they don't know about the new SAS Wolverine. The Wolverine fires its first missiles. Kraken tries to strike
that looks similar
back,
to the G.I. Joe
the
tank.
The
That's the his tank. Come on now. That's the his tank. Stop it. Stop it. That was the Cobra his tank. And that other tank was... We go with the ads.
When's the next Equalizer? I'm like, why do you guys like that movie so much? Not exactly.
Because it's more fun. And coming in at number 4 is Mask.
I forgot about Mask. They were pretty good. Their vehicles were crazy.
Somewhat of a hybrid of G.I. Joe and Transformers, the Mask toy line was centered on a range of toy vehicles that featured complex action gimmicks that would convert the vehicle into a combat.
They were rugged. I'll give them that.
And like many other 80s toy lines,
tiny, though.
The franchise had an accompanying cartoon on TV to help with toy merchandising. Mask stands for Mobile Armors Strike Command, and the main premise revolved around the fight between this task force and a criminal organisation called Venom, which is another convoluted 80s acronym that spells out vicious, evil network of mayhem. The Mask action figures, like many others on this list, were produced by Kenner, and they were some of the smallest figures produced in the 80s. The action figures all included titular Mask accessories, but the vehicles with this list were produced by Kenner, and they were some of the smallest figures produced.
I don't know who the hell this is. Okay, there's a Secret Wars figure right there. There goes Michael Knight. See Dick Tracy. I think that's Thundar. Is that Hannibal or I think that's Hannibal from A-Team. Centurions. Rambo, Ninja Turtles, Silverhawks. Yeah, that's Chuck Norris Commandos, and that's an old. That's like a '70s Hulk. Lino, He-Man, and I think that's supposed to be Robin Hood I remember Ghostbusters. Yeah, Kenner was something serious, boy.
Produced in the
I don't know who the
80s.
hell this guy is, though.
The action figures all included titular mask accessories, but the vehicles were the biggest selling point of the line,
Yeah, the vehicles
and were
were
what us
something else.
kids really wanted. The range included such iconic toys as the Rhino and the Switchblade, and the often amazing transformations that the vehicles were capable of, made for a toy line that was jam-packed with play value. Venom. As we get closer to the top slot, the number 3 entry is the classic line, Masters of the Universe.
There you go. There you go. Now you're getting somewhere.
This franchise is a sci-fi fantasy mashup that is one of the most unique toy concepts introduced in the 1980s. Conceived and produced by toy company Mattel, the Masters of the Universe is a 5.5-inch full-range action figures with colourful, bizarre designs, and the concept is centred on the battles between the heroic He-Man and the evil Skeletor, who fight for control of Castle Grayskull. Another hugely appealing 80s toy line, the popularity of Masters of the Universe reached stratospheric heights with the introduction of the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon that was produced by Filmation and first aired on television in 1983, and its cultural impact on the children of the 80s is unquestionable. For the action figure lineup, Mattel produced a range of quite durable figures with a limited articulation, but what made them stand out from the rest of the pack was their overly muscular design.
They were built.
These characters all look like roided up bodybuilders. But the real secret to the success of this toy line was in the catchphrase, "I have the power," which Prince Adam bellows out every time he morphs into the heroic He-Man. And I feel that children all over the world were captivated by the idea of being able to transform into the stoic character of He-Man.
You're a loser, Skeletor.
Taking the number 2 slot on this list is Star Wars.
That means number one. You already know what number one is.
Films produced by
Fight for
George
freedom
Lucas.
against Cobra
the
the
Star Wars
enemy.
line literally reinvented the way that young boys played with toys in the late 70s. And even though this toy line was introduced in 1978, it became truly legendary throughout the first half of the 1980s. The popularity of Star Wars toys is solely responsible for the 3 3/4-inch scale action figure revolution.
I had the Millennium Falcon. I had these 3 right here. Darth Vader, of course. I had that big Vader case that looked like Darth Vader's head, a helmet, and you could put figures in there. The Rain Corps. I had the Millennium Falcon twice. The Ewoks. Those pig head men that got eaten by the Rain Corps. Can't think of everybody else. Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, I remember all that. Had some of it.
That followed.
Luke Skywalker.
And the concept of minifigures combined with amazing spaceship vehicles was a global success for Kenner. Although the figures were quite simple to begin with, they got a lot
Sandman.
better.
Woo! They kicked your ass. They were rough.
All of our favourite characters from the movies. With the original Star Wars toy line, Kenner created a fully realised world for us to act out all the exciting adventures from a galaxy far, far away. And the range included everything from one-man fighters to bizarre creatures, huge play sets, and iconic spaceships.
Yep, there you go.
And it should come as no surprise that this toy line remains one of the most collected action figure lines of all time.
Yeah,
Kenner's Star Wars
still
is
like
indicative of a zeitgeist moment in the memories of 80s children all across the world. And the nostalgia we feel for these small pieces of plastic can be rarely matched.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Before we reveal our top pick, here are some honourable mentions.
Okay.
Firstly, we have Galoo's A-Team, a toy line that was struck off the list due to its poor quality, but is worthy of mention.
Like G.I. Joe I remember those.
A fantastic A-Team tactical.
Those are basically G.I. Joe figures. Now made like G.I. Joe figures. The only thing is they had the straight arm. It was like the Series 1 G.I. Joe figures. I knew about these. I didn't know that there was the van. I know they had the van though. I knew about those. I remember they had the little ones and they had the big ones. I had the I don't know if they were the 7 or 8 inch figure, whatever they were. Yeah, but I remember those though.
Van. Next we have Thundercats, A toy
Yeah, I
line
forgot
I
about
got
Thunder.
into as a...
Yes, a lot of he had. He should have made a top 20 list. Yeah, come on, Thundercats was up there.
kid, but I thought I'd best mention it for the same reason I included Transformers on this list. Someone might shoot me if I didn't. And the final honourable mention goes to the 1989 Batman
Wow, the
action
final.
figure line. This is far from a...
You mean to tell me I had the Batman figure, but you mean to tell me Brave Star wasn't on there? So what the hell? Or Silver Hawk? Okay, now this yeah, you're missing a few things here. I could keep going, but
great toy line.
you're missing a few
but
things.
I had to
but
mention it because while the line might not have defined a decade, it certainly defined 1989.
Get those wonderful toys.
And so coming in at number 1 is the all-time greatest 80s action figure toy line, G.I. Joe, a real American hero.
There you go. There you go.
Hasbro's G.I. Joe holds a special place in the history of toys, being the
They go
world's
back to
very
the
first
70s,
action
the
figure
60s.
when it was launched in 1964.
Yeah, 60s.
And he became an overnight phenomenon. With the Adventure Team, G.I. Joe would continue to sell well through the early 1970s, but due to the oil crisis and the rising cost of petroleum-based plastic products, G.I. Joe was eventually priced out of the market and was discontinued in 1977. While the company's flagship toy line languished in retirement in the late 70s, the designers at Hasbro witnessed the phenomenal success of the Star Wars toy line. So they hatched a plan to bring G.I. Joe back to life in the now popular 3 3/4 inch scale. And that plan resulted in the introduction of G.I. Joe, a real American hero, in 1982. Hasbro were wise to what made Star Wars successful, and that was the combination of minifigures and affordable vehicles. But they felt they could do better than Kenner, and realising a lot of G.I. Joe's early success was due to his articulation, they said, let's use the same scale as Star Wars, but we'll show Kenner how to make a truly exciting action figure. The end product was the most posable, high-quality, small-scale toy figure the market had ever seen. And to further bolster the brand, we received a comic backstory from Marvel.
I had so many of them things, it was ridiculous. Let's see. I had this guy, I had Dusty, I had Shipwreck, I had whoever the heck his name was. Did I have Bazooka? I can't remember. I had Snake Eyes, but it wasn't this version. It's the one I always wanted. Never had Barbecue. I had friends that had Barbecue, but every time they had him, he was split in half. The O-ring was broke. Yeah, I had a truckload of them things.
Which remains one of the best comic runs of the 1980s, and a cartoon that brought this colourful cast of characters to life. G.I. Joe is an iconic toy line with a breadth of scope that is unmatched in the entire history
It had a
of
little
action
boat
figures.
too.
I mean, let's be serious. The line included a 7-foot-long toy of an aircraft carrier.
Aircraft carrier.
That's just insane.
That thing's worth like 10 grand.
Hasbro's G.I. Joe, a real American
Had
hero,
that helicopter
didn't
chopper.
just define the toy landscape of the 1980s. For me, G.I. Joe is the 80s. So that's our list of the top 10 best 80s action figure toy lines. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to check out some of our other top 10 videos, you can click the links right here. I'm Tony from Analog Toys. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, this, whoops. Mute Dax for this. I wasn't muted. Yeah, he missed a few things. The Silverhawks, the Centurions, Brave Star, the Marvel of Secret Wars, because that was all 80s. Yeah, he didn't say 90s. He said, yeah, he said 80s. So he missed a lot of stuff. Now, if he does the one about the 90s, they have to see that. But yeah, a pretty good list. Like a couple of those things, I didn't know what the hell that was. But for the most part, it was a good list.